is the first one.
Yeah.
This is 10 freaking days. People grab your coffee, totally get ready, take notes, make sure you have a pad of paper and a pen. If you take notes on your laptop, that would be good. Oh my God. I had my volume on my phone. That was such a freshman rookie move. I can't even believe it. Okay.
You're a little down today, Adrian. You might need to get your coffee before we get started.
Well, I didn't have time to get my coffee this morning, and I don't know about you, but like I don't get stage fright or anything, but I've been so excited. I totally did not sleep last night. So this is like the exhaustion high right before the crash.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We're going to have a blast. It's going to be good. I'm just sharing to a bunch of groups, and I'm getting a ton of people feeding.
Yeah, we're just throwing it out there. So yeah, cool. It's super exciting. I noticed that we were all over the place yesterday when I searched some different crypto stuff. So cool. So I think we are live. So I'm going to open this up to welcome everybody to the Future of Money, and this is the world's largest live online cryptocurrency summit. I'm John Tarr, and I'm the founder of Totally Crypto. I'm going to be joined today by Adrian Ashley. She's actually going to be interviewing me, but since it is my summit, I wanted to kick it off. And Roger Bryan is in the background. He'll be a part of this and be interviewing some people later on today. Before Adrian and I get started, let me mention that on this page, you're going to see a button for the cryptocurrency training kit. This is a special offer that during the summit gets you 40 hours of talks, 25 plus speaker bonus gifts, and a program called the Cryptocurrency Mastery Program. The regular price is $497, but you can secure yours now for $297. It's the most comprehensive training package that I've seen in this market. So you want to take advantage of that special offer now. And then now let's just jump right into it. Adrian, let's start with you and me. Adrian, we're going to interview her later. You're going to see she's a co-host of this with Roger Bryan and myself. But today, let's talk about the summit. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hey, okay. Well, welcome everybody. And I'm so glad that you are here joining us on the Future of Money, because I don't know if you've watched TV lately. I don't know if you've listened to the news or heard people talking about Bitcoin, blockchain, and thought, what the heck is that? You definitely want to know. And this is the place to be to get to know everything you need to know about the future of money. And today we're going to be interviewing John Tarr. He is the founder of Totally Crypto and the creator of this summit. But I first want to go in and ask John a couple of questions like, why did you create this summit? Why was it necessary and why now?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So crypto has been sort of getting a bad rap a little bit. And here's the thing. I've been in crypto since 2013. And, I've seen some crypto winners in my time. As my friend Max Wright says, we've seen some crypto winners. And everything was getting super hypey. So Bitcoin had hit 20,000. And you had a lot of people talking about Bitcoin, and you had a lot of people talking about cryptocurrency, and none of them knew what the hell they were talking about, right? Like, you're hearing these guys who are brilliant minds in what they do, guys like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and some other people that I admire as an entrepreneur. But as far as cryptocurrency, they had zero idea what was going on. And my friend Richard, who helped put this whole summit together, he and I are in a mastermind group together. And he said, you really ought to do a summit. And I said, oh, that's a great idea, because we're going to be able to bring together a lot of thought leaders from all different angles of this thing. So this isn't, sometimes you talk to people in the crypto space and they're just hell-bent that crypto is going to be money, right? And they won't listen to anything else. They're just like totally blind. Right. And I didn't want that. What I wanted is, hey, let's have a conversation with a lot of thought leaders in this space. Let's get everybody educated from all the possibilities, both the good, because there's a lot of amazing possibilities. Let's talk about some of the bad things that go on in the cryptocurrency market. And let's talk about how it could all come together in the future with a lot of different thought leaders from a lot of different angles. And so I did it for education so that people can stop perpetuating some of these myths that are in cryptocurrency.
And I'm glad you're doing this, because one of my biggest pet peeves is people put out a white paper. I actually was just sent one the other day, because I do a talk about how you can market your way into the big house, not a big house, but Club Fed. And this site literally had the founders had no last names. It was poorly written English. The white paper, the tokenomics, if you right clicked on the actual algorithm, it was somebody else's algorithm. Like nothing about it was real, and they raised 5 million in 3 days. So one of the big things that I love about what you're doing on this summit is you're educating people so that they can spot the scams, they can look at what's real, and they're going to know what to do with their money and when.
Well, we hope so. I mean, I think one thing that is very understanding as a student of human nature, I'm an unlicensed psychologist, I guess. And the fact is you can't stop people from being people. At the end of the day, greed plays a huge part in any market. But I think that, we'll do our best, right? So for 10 days, we're going to do our part and try to show people stuff. But I think at the end of the day, people sometimes greed takes over. But don't let that be you, everybody.
No, absolutely not. Now, I want people to get to know who you are, because you actually have not just been in Bitcoin since 2013, but you actually have a pretty deep understanding of the financial markets and how everything works. And I'd like people to get to know you on a more personal level. So can you share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19. I'm pretty well educated as well. And the reason I point that out is because so many people kind of poo-poo education in our space. So I'm both. I'm pretty well educated, and I have a history degree and a finance degree. And I've been involved in the markets in some way, shape, or form as an investor or as a just maybe a looker-oner for quite some time. So I like to follow the markets. I really like the cryptocurrency market and everything that it brings. But I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur. My dad was an entrepreneur, and so for a long time, that's where I've stayed. But I love people, and I really am, like I say, kind of an unlicensed psychologist. I like to take a look at people and figure out, how to help them best. And that's one of the reasons that I ended up doing the crypto group, was because I saw so much misinformation out there that I wanted to bring that to fruition. But overall, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been involved in a lot of different things. Early adopter of cryptocurrency. I've been a consultant to some of the biggest marketing, some of the biggest firms in the world. I do some consulting for their marketing and things like that. So I think that stuff's pretty boring, though. So I won't talk too much about it. The thing that really gets me geeked up is my wife, Catherine, and my son, Jonathan. I had been married now for about 5 years, had my first kid, 43 years old, and he's 3.5, and I'm just in love. I'd had 10 kids if I'd have known it was this much fun. So that's the thing that really gets me going, is doing that kind of stuff. All the other stuff you do so that you can live. But I'd say my family and cryptocurrency right now gets me probably the most excited.
That was one of the things that I loved about you most when I first met you, was how jazzed you were to be a dad. That was so cool to me. So you talk about, this misinformation that's going around. Give me the top myth that people believe that is totally not true, that you keep hearing every day.
So I'll tell you, one of the things that sticks in my craw a little bit, as my grandpa would say, is when people refer to, now the number one scam that was out there when I started this was USI Tech. I don't want to get into that right now, but that's one of the reasons I started the group. I was so tired of that. And people act like these high yield investment schemes are new to Bitcoin. And it's like, no, they've been around forever. And so I wanted to get that myth. But one of the things that I talked about in New Wealth Secrets, which is a newsletter that we published this month, is how everybody relates to cryptocurrency only as a mechanism of payment. And it's like, it's way more than a mechanism of payment. Yes, it was designed and built to be a mechanism of payment. But I think that what people really need to do when they look at it, and you get more sophisticated in this market, you understand all the different technologies and all the different companies that are going to raise money. And it's well beyond a mechanism of payment. And that's one thing I would like for people to relate to a little differently, is that cryptocurrency is well beyond a mechanism of payment. Is it the future of money? Probably. Is it only a mechanism of payment? Absolutely not.
I thought it was really interesting that Satoshi Nakamoto released the white paper for Bitcoin about a month after the crash in 2008, where all of our financial markets are rock solid. The foundation with which we built our entire economy and our belief system in the American dream completely and totally crashed, and we found out that they lied. And I think that it was interesting. I know it had been knocking around much more than just for a month, but that white paper came out, and I think it gave us hope, or at least it gave a certain subsection of the population who saw it and read it, that there could be something else. Now, am I allowed to swear on this or not allowed to swear?
I don't mind. You can do whatever you want. Just
awesome.
be you.
Okay, so I like to say that blockchain technology, which is the foundation of Bitcoin, is an unfuckwithable record of what actually happened. People are trying to like figure out, well, is it just money? Well, no, like you said, it's not just money. It's a bunch of other things. But at the root of it, if you just need to know exactly what happened and when and by who, that's the perfect execution for using blockchain.
Yeah, here's a great myth. You say that. Somebody in the Totally Crypto group, God love you. I can't remember your name, and so I'm not trying to out you. Go through all the comments and out yourself. But he said, that blockchain can be forged. And it's like, that's just somebody that doesn't, I know, but that's just somebody that doesn't understand the technology.
Okay.
It. So these are some of the myths that need to come out so people really understand what this is.
If you had a 51% attack using quantum computers, then yes, but we don't.
Yeah, that's more for Roger Bryan's interview. You start talking about quantum computing, you're going to...
Exactly. Well, then you can't hide the truth from the future, because there's no such thing at that point. But we can totally do that when we go to Roger's. I'll keep that one in mind.
Yeah, smart kid interviews. When you hit the smart kid interviews.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you do want people to understand and to know? Because or do we want to just keep on the bits? Because there's so many fun ones out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that we can stay with the myths, but I think one of the reasons, let's talk about some of the people that I have asked to join us, yourself included, right? The number one woman in blockchain. I have that right? Number one woman in blockchain.
This week, I was the number 6 person in blockchain a couple of weeks ago, and I was still the number one woman, because there was no woman above me.
All right.
Now they came out with a new list, so I'm the number one woman in blockchain. But my power score is 50, which means technically I should be the number 3 person in blockchain.
Well, it's so exciting. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I just have a big mouth, and apparently people listen. So it's influencer. I would never go toe-to-toe with Vitalik in terms of contribution to blockchain technology. But influence, I talk.
Well, I think it's awesome. And that's why you're here, because of that. And I think that when one thing you'd ask me, like, hey, tell us a little bit about yourself. And one of my gifts is being able to understand the value that a lot of people bring. So I'm pretty resourceful. So even if I don't know people, I'm able to connect pretty well. And so Sarah, who is our operations manager at our company, she knew you. She brings you to the fold. You're an absolute expert in this space. You're very well connected in the space. And so then you were able to go get some big headliners like Tim Draper and John McAfee, and working on some others as far as the headliners go. I know James Altucher, so at least know the people that work with James. And so we're able to bring these big names in. And a lot of times what people don't understand is the big names kind of bring in the people, but it's everybody else that might bring in some of the awesome information. Right. Certainly James and John and Tim are going to have awesome information. But that's why we wanted to bring everybody together, because everybody, like Tim Draper, obviously, is going to have a different perspective on things than John McAfee. Right.
Oh, and I swear I'm working on it. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it for the summit, but I want to get them in a toe-to-toe debate.
Yeah, how fun.
That would be so amazing and super fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan Moran, who's a really good friend of mine, is sort of like a bear on crypto. He's not a big fan of crypto. I asked him to come on because I want to have that conversation. So Cody Sperber, who has been an investor for a really long time in this market, wanted him to come on and talk about some of the things that he's doing because he's been an investor. Roger Bryan, of course, my business partner and founder of Digital Currency Index, and working with Albert, wanted him to come on and share his perspective. And so I think that all down the line, I mean, we have so many great guests. Neil Patel's going to be on today.
I love Neil.
Who else do we have on today? Jason's coming on today.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of these people have got a different perspective, whether they're coming from the legal end, Vinny Fisher on accounting, Diane on the accounting side. They're coming
we got
and they're going to
Diane
share
Kennedy.
information.
I'm sorry? Diane Kennedy's the top CPA in the world for all types of small business investing and now going into crypto as well. And she was the CPA for the Rich Dad Poor Dad, that whole revolution. She was the woman.
Yeah. And so I think that Kevin Harrington's going to be with us over the next 10 days. And so I think, you're going to get so many different, perspectives. How do you pronounce, is it Keizu? Is that how you pronounce her name?
Kishu.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Forgive me.
So she is the founder of Ono. She's 23 years old. It is a venture-backed social network in China using blockchain technology. They did an ICO, so the government approved it. And it is basically a Facebook where you own your data and you could license it or not, but you get paid, not them. It is tremendously, astonishingly, oh my God, I cannot believe that the government approved it, but their backers in the VC world are some of the top VCs in the world. So they got everything pushed through, and that is going to be launching on EOS, which is going to be any minute now. Just kind of went live for voting on June 1st. So we're going to talk blockchains. We're going to talk mining. We're going to talk investing. We're going to talk day trading. We're going to talk creating your own ICOs. There's so much going on in the next 10 days. It's like,
Yeah. And so one of the things too to talk about there is that, this is a world market. This is a 24/7 world market. And most of the people, the Totally Crypto group is actually made up of about 65% non-US residents, which really gets me excited. And so if you're out there, you have to keep in mind, like, we're doing this pretty much on the USA time zone. And that's just because most of us live here. And so, but this is, some of the tax things are going to be USA centered. But if you're watching this and you're from outside of the United States, this is for you too. It's not just for US residents. This is a world market. And we tried to bring in some people that can bring that perspective as well.
Awesome. I know we've got some great people because I brought in a few people that people wouldn't necessarily know because they're more obscure niche oriented, like Justin, who he does counterintelligence type of things. So when you're talking about doing due diligence on an ICO, if you're looking to invest a lot of money, you really want to know who those people are who are backing that project. So tips and tricks on how to do that too.
Yeah, Yasmin Drummond, is that Yasmin's name?
Yasmin. Yeah, she is one of the co-founders of Women in Blockchain. She just joined a fund. She's one of the top women in crypto in the world, super well connected and absolutely brilliant.
Tim May is going to be joining us. He's going to be talking about mining and some of that. Peter Lowry, the CEO of Block Insights, is going to be joining us. Peter used to manage a hedge fund. He's going to talk about some of the things where he sees this market going. Who else am I thinking of?
We got Russell Castagnero from WamPay. So any merchant can actually take crypto. They can take Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, which I know the Bitcoin Cash guys were just looking for a merchant platform. And I'm like, oh, here's one that already works with your coin. They just went wild over it that all of a sudden any merchant can take crypto and it's super easy.
Yeah, it's super awesome. Ariella Yeager, who was our lead analyst, is going to be on. She'll be talking. She's awesome. We've got so many cool women in crypto, and people are like, oh, I didn't even know there are a lot of women in crypto. And so we went out of our way to find some of the top, when we have the top women. And you'll be speaking and you'll be interviewed and talk in addition to hosting a bunch of different people. So you're going to be speaking. And I think that, we went out of our way to get top women because it's not a gender thing. It's a crypto thing, right?
It's a crypto thing. But also I think we're poised at this moment to really make a difference. Like at the beginning of the internet, it was a bunch of dudes in a basement and there weren't really a lot of girls. And this time we know that it's happening. We're actually here. And even though it's only 15% of us, I think a lot of the men, especially the top men, are making room and they're actively seeking women for their projects. They're actively using diversity, to make sure that they've got a broad perspective so that we don't end up with this very narrow vision of what blockchain could be, that we've got a wider perspective. So we've got the social good and the potential unicorns, both.
Yeah, without a doubt. One thing I want to mention while I'm thinking about it, www.totallycryptosummit.com will give you a full speaker schedule. So you'll see everybody to speak. That's www.totallycryptosummit.com.
Awesome.
Yeah, one guy I want to mention too, and there's so many. We're going to have over 40 speakers the next 10 days, so there's going to be something for everybody. Matt Morris, who does a lot of trading, but we're going to talk about with Matt how to trade different things, like different blockchain companies outside of the cryptocurrency market. I know we've got Barry Cohen, who's going to be on talking about some stuff. Max Wright. My favorite speaker is Max Wright, and I'll tell you why. Max Wright is the guy that told me in 2013 on Easter Sunday to buy Bitcoin.
Ooh.
And it was at $90. And so he's going to be here. He's a thought leader.
Have you bought him a Ferrari yet?
What's that? Well,
you owe him a Ferrari.
I think he called that baby name and loot.
Yeah.
He said, "You got to name your next kid after me." And I said, "Well, I don't think we're going to have another." And he said, "Well, maybe we got to change Jonathan's name because
get a dog."
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, my dog is
baby.
Max. I do have a dog named Max.
Well, there you go. So say my fur baby is your namesake.
Yeah. So
and I love my fur baby.
Yes, I'm legit. I got a dog named Max. I'm in. I'm off the hook now.
There you go. And loot though. Don't forget the loot.
Yeah, that's right. So, he's going to be here and just so many different guys. Max is going to talk about decentralized exchanges. And so, like I say, there's so many different things that people need to understand about this space. And when you think about the internet, I was thinking about this the other day. I was in Chicago for a meeting and I was sitting in Starbucks to grab a coffee before our meeting. And I was looking at the newspaper stand, and it was like a USA Today, right? Because nobody buys newspapers anymore. Nobody, and or hardly any magazines for that matter. I mean, they're out there, but they're just everything's digital. And so when you look at the internet and what it did to that space, and then you think about blockchain and what it's going to do, and we're like before the dial-up. There's so much growth here that's about to happen from so many different angles. And so, 40 hours isn't enough, but it's the best we can do in 10 days.
I thought it was great. We started off 30 hours and then all of a sudden one more, but 40. And I was like, we're going to be at 60 in a hot minute. Let me tell you.
And people should know if you're watching this, we just kept adding speakers. It was just over and over. We just kept getting really good people that wanted to bring awesome value. They heard about the event. And people are not getting paid to do this, by the way. Speakers are here because they want to educate, and certainly, it's a great exposure for them, but they're not getting paid. They're here to bring their message to you and to tell you kind of some of the things that they're experts in. So
they're here because we asked them to be.
Yeah, totally.
That's why. So Joby, who is going to be on Saturday, he's the number 3 Bitcoin miner in the world. And there's this whole conversation around mining versus minting and energy production and how this all works. And then I think we might even be able to get him to touch on OTC deals, which are now fast becoming my favorite.
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, that's going to be fun. And Joby Weeks, did I get that right?
Yeah, Joby Weeks. And then Evan Caron is the next day. And he's the CEO of Switch. And Switch is actually a green energy incentive token. So it goes right along with the whole, we're consuming all this green energy, but it's only 1.8% of all of our energy production. So how about we incentivize green energy production? And instead of using proof of work or proof of stake, proof of work, which takes energy, it actually uses its proof of work as actual energy production. How cool is that?
Yeah,
we're figuring out how to save the world and fun and power a blockchain at the same time. Like the way people's minds work, I am astonished. Like the next Satoshi is already here, already working on something, and we're going to hear about it in a second, I'm sure.
Yeah, it just gets better and better. And Roger Bryan talks about this all the time, that, technology evolves, right? Somebody makes an improvement, somebody makes another improvement, and it just keeps evolving. Yes. And blockchain technology is going to be no different. So it's definitely exciting in more ways than one. And so I'm just super pumped to be able to be a part of this thing. And I thank Richard and his team for putting it on. I thank you for co-hosting it. And so it's going to be super fun. And of course, Roger, who's out there someplace in the internet world watching.
I was so honored when Sarah asked me if I wanted to participate. I was like, 10-day live summit, interviewing awesome people. Yeah, I think so. Definitely count me in.
Yeah, it was funny. Yesterday, she was like, hey, are you ready for this? And I'm like, oh, I've got to go and talk to a bunch of smart people about crypto. Like, that's the easy part, right?
Right? I'm like, show up and look pretty. I was like, I have to get enough sleep so my eyes aren't red. I've got to do my hair, do my makeup. You boys have it easy. You shower, you wash your face, you're good.
That is true. I did iron my shirt today, though, for everybody that's wondering.
Thank you very much. That's awesome.
Yeah. I do what I can.
Well, that's amazing. And I know that people are going to have a lot of questions during the summit. Can we talk about how they can respond or how they can participate, or how is it interactive? Is it not interactive? Are we going to be able to take questions? Like, what's the format for them?
I think that's a great question. And I have zero idea, to be honest with you. Now, here's what I do know. And Richard will start to pop in here and tell me what they can and cannot do. So one of the things, we're going to be streaming live in the Totally Crypto Facebook page and Facebook group. We'll be streaming live on YouTube. And so they'll be able to interact there a little bit and kind of give us their thoughts and their feelings. They can make comments in the feed. And of course, we're in that group all the time. So we'll, if for some reason we don't touch on something during the interview or presentation, we can always circle back there. You know,
I do have an idea, and I think it would actually make us go viral every single day, which would be awesome. If on Twitter we use the hashtag Totally Crypto, and then they can ask us questions, hashtag Totally Crypto, we'll search for that hashtag, and then in real time we'll actually be able to see them.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a totally great idea. So yeah, hashtag Totally Crypto. Also join the Facebook group, Totally Crypto. Make sure you can watch the lives. Go to our Totally Crypto YouTube page, join there. Make sure to register for the summit. If you're not registered, you're watching this live, there'll be a link to register. It's an email address. Then you'll get it's so much easier for us to email stuff because it's so much more organized as far as things go, and you'll get a schedule and things like that. So make sure to follow along there so that you make sure to catch your favorite speakers, because one of the things about this summit that is unique is it is live, because crypto changes so frequently. We had to do it live. These are not pre-recorded. I am live right now. And, it's very difficult sometimes to pre-record this stuff because, a couple of weeks, it could be out of date.
It absolutely is, because my book, Minting the Future, every time I get it back from the editor, something has changed so dramatically I have to rewrite a chapter, which is killing me right now. But I want to talk about the quick start guide. So the whole point of registering not only is you're going to get everything in your inbox and you're going to be able to keep track of what's happening and who's next and why you want to be on it, and we can communicate with you better, but you get a quick start guide delivered into your inbox, which you definitely want, and print it out and have that baby right next to you to help you take notes.
Yeah. There's I put that together too because I put that together based on the questions that people were asking in the Totally Crypto group. So James Reynolds, who's a moderator at Totally Crypto, I want to give James some props there. He put that together with me, and we're just like, we basically brainstormed on the phone. What are the biggest questions that everybody has, and how do we help them with those? And so, that's why we put that together. So if you are new to crypto, you want to pick that up. And certainly there's some advanced things in there too. I want to talk about something real quick, Adrienne, that you triggered for me there. And what people, as we talk about the future of money, which is sort of our tagline here to this event, I think people need to understand that right now is a really good opportunity for you to get involved in this market. And here's why. One of our co-sponsors is Equity Trust, which is a really big institutional self-directed IRA firm. And I think they have $27 billion under management. So they're pretty big. Now, the reason it triggered for me is because right now, when you talk about cryptocurrency, you're talking about wallets, you're talking about security issues, and that is a barrier to entry that people have. So people always ask me about Bitcoin, and I hold my Bitcoin. I've been holding Bitcoin since 2013. People are like, do you sell the dips? No, I hold it. Here's why I hold it. It's simple. That fifth grade economics, fifth grade supply and demand, right? That I bought that Bitcoin. As more money comes into this market, and it's coming through institutional investors and things like that, then Bitcoin is finite, right? They're not making any more of it, so to speak. So it's going to continue to go up. I think it's limited to 21 million. Why is that important to you, and why am I thinking about this? Sophisticated investors like my father-in-law, who is a very wealthy person, my stepdad, very wealthy, they will not invest in crypto right now just because the security issues and the technology is a barrier to entry for them. That is going away. Okay. So that barrier to entry is going away. And Equity Trust is going to be one of the first people to talk about this during this summit. And you're going to see more and more companies jump in this space and eliminate that technological barrier. When that happens, and it's happening right now, guess what? More money is going to come in. And markets are driven by liquidity. Markets are driven by liquidity, all markets, right? So it's not a Ponzi scheme, it's liquidity. And when the liquidity comes in, all boats are going to rise. And so I want you to pay special attention to that in that crypto quick start guide, it talks about security and wallets, but that's going to be in 2 years, Adrian. We may not even be talking about that stuff. So it just triggered for me that the future is going to be institutional money, and the liquidity is going to rise all boats. And so if you're in this market now, as Woody Allen says, 80% is just showing up, you're in good shape.
So that was what was interesting to me. So I was in a room with about 100 VCs in a private meeting. No idea how I got in there. I'm the only non-VC in the room. And when they were talking about, and these were all, traditional equity-based VCs. So they don't necessarily buy security tokens, utility tokens, any tokens. But then they were having this conversation about why they would and why they should. Because when they make an equity play, it's a 5 to 10 year exit. So their money is locked up and they can't really do anything. When they do a security token, their SAFs are usually only locked up for 12 months and then they're liquid. And it's usually a much higher return very quickly. And it was such an astonishing thing to be in a room with that many very smart, very financially savvy people and have at least 2/3 of them go, I'm not ready yet. I was like, yet? What do you need? What more do you need from that? And it is exactly what you talked about. It's the SEC compliance. They want regulation. They want to know for sure and for certain that they're allowed to do this. And I think that Equity Trust is going to address that in their issue.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a lot of, I think one of the things that is difficult about regulation in this marketplace, and there's probably guys that are a lot more intelligent than I am about this that'll be speaking. But I think one of the things to keep in mind is who the hell is going to regulate it, right? It's a world market.
Right.
And so, you've got different regulations from all over the world that are going to converge here. And I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of the governing bodies are taking their time to figure out exactly what to regulate, how to regulate it, and all they want. And here's the other thing. We've got a lot of libertarian friends, right? And I'm libertarian kind of. Yeah, except I live in California, which is about the most untax-friendly place on the planet. But here's the thing. I'm libertarian in the sense my capitalism always outweighs my libertarianism, because I do see this as the future. But I think what libertarians need to understand is we're a very, very small portion of the market. Most people, like my grandma, my mom, my sisters, they want safety and security. That's just what they want. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing. I'm not going to try to say that my way is the best way. But I think that because the majority of the population all over the planet wants safety and security, that as that safety and security emerges in the form of regulation, it's really going to help the market. In the short term, is it going to hurt it? Yeah, but in the long term, it's going to help it a lot.
I think it will help it a lot. And I think what's interesting is before we can really have mainstream adoption, and we've now hit 5%, we've hit the tipping point. So it's now going to start flooding. We're going to get a lot more mainstream people coming in. And especially a lot of the apps that are coming out, they're going to be able to be using these apps, using tokens, using wallets. They don't know what a wallet is, but they know what an app is. They absolutely can download an app. But when they go download a wallet, what's a wallet, right? We're using terminology that mainstream people don't understand. But the projects that are coming out, like the project that I'm working on, which I'll talk about in my interview, is a dating app. Everybody can relate to a dating app. It's going to give them that safety, security, and certainty. But I think what was interesting is in the 50s, you had my word is my bond, my handshake is my contract. And we've moved society away from that to the point where it's not quite Big Brother-ish, but there's always somebody to fix it if we blow it. There's a go backsies. There's a take backsies. There's a, no, I don't want to live up to that. I don't want to do that. And there's always a way out. And with blockchain right now, at the current iteration, there isn't. It's one and done. You send your money, it's sent. There's nobody that can take that back for you.
Yeah, I think that I think that that's an important distinction. I want to veer back from, because here's one of the things that I wrote about this past month that I'll touch on. I think people are thinking of adoption in the wrong way. And let me say this, that the amount of people that adopt this as a currency, I don't think is as important as the people that come in, like your friends on the VC side, because those cats know where the puck is going. They're not putting their money someplace where it's going to burn, right? That's not what those guys do. They put their money in places where it's going to make more money. So if they start getting in, which they are, that's the adoption that we need. Not from, my sister's using Ethereum to pay for her salad. I don't care about that right now. No. I care about my sister knows what it is. She's familiar with blockchain. She's familiar with how the technology is working. And her financial advisor told her she needed to invest. That's what gets me excited, because that's where I think the money is. And then eventually, as this technology gets better and better, then it is going to move probably to more of a digital currency system sometime down the road. But that technology's got to be funded by capitalism. That's how that happens.
What I think is so interesting right now is the EACL, which is the esports amateur league, and they're getting VC funded. And we're talking about hundreds of millions of kids, teens, millennials, and 30% of millennials already own cryptocurrency. But you've got this huge swath of video gamers doing these competitive leagues that are all going to be indoctrinated invisibly into crypto, millions at a time, like every competition. It's crazy, the onboarding that's about to be taking place.
Well, and they say, and this is a really important thing. I'm glad you brought that up. They say, in every generation, you hear that children are the future, right? I mean, Louis Armstrong.
We even have a song.
Yeah, right? So, there's songs about it, okay? So it's legit, people.
It's legit.
There's songs. If
there's a Grammy
about
for
that makes it legit.
That's right.
So, and here's the thing, my son brings to me, he wants to watch his volcano show, which is the news. He's fascinated by the Hawaii volcano. And so he brings it because he saw a volcano on Paw Patrol, other show. But he brings me his iPad, and I don't have any idea how to work that thing. And he's like, just give it to me, Dad. Boom, 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 boom. Because they don't have some of the, technology restrictions we do. And just like I was talking about my stepdad and my father-in-law, my stepdad's in his early 80s. My father-in-law's in his mid-60s. Technological barrier. It's the millennials. And a lot of us Gen Xers want to beat up on the millennials, right? But they're the ones that are going to take this thing home for us. Them and my son, your son, those are the people that are going to drive this blockchain technology and, quite frankly, make us rich.
Well, they need to, because there will be no Social Security back when it's time for us to actually get Social Security. So we need another option. And buying into Ripple or Bitcoin or Ethereum or EOS or whatever it is, a little bit at a time now might just fund that.
Yeah. And let me say too, with that being said, one thing I invite people to do over the next 10 days is just hold back your judgment. You may have thoughts about Bitcoin. You may have thoughts about cryptocurrency. You might have thoughts about blockchain, whatever that is. Hold back that judgment and really take in what the speakers are saying. And you may not agree with every speaker. You might not agree with how they live their personal life, right? But whatever it is that they're saying to you, You want to internalize it without judgment so that you have an understanding of where this market is going to go. And most importantly, how you can profit, because I think we all want, I don't care if you're from Japan, I don't care if you're from Iran, I don't care if you're from Pakistan, Central America, Canada, England, United States, we all really want the same thing. And what we really want is we want a better life for our families. We want a better life for us. We want to, a lot of us want to impact the world. Some people are like, hey, I'll let you do that. I just want to hang out here with my kid. You go impact all you want. Regardless, I think that, you're in a time right now that really could transcend the world. And I don't say that to be overly dramatic. I say it because I believe it. And so when these speakers are speaking, it's up to you to just kind of reserve your judgment and listen and think, I might not agree with the way that guy conducts his personal affairs, but man, that was a pretty insightful comment. And so I think it's really important because people are going to be talking about things that you don't even know what questions to ask because you don't know enough about the subject, myself included. So just sit back and listen to these brilliant people over the next 10 days.
And do not forget to tweet your questions when you get them, when you're listening to them and something sparks in your head or you don't understand something. Please, please, please tweet #TotallyCrypto. John, what is your Twitter?
That's a great question.
That's a great question. Well, I'm at Adrienne, ADRYENN. I will pass it along to John if he can't remember his Twitter handle, but we should make sure we have everybody's Twitter handles.
Yeah, awesome. I'm on Twitter barely. Like I literally got a Twitter thing because of crypto. So, and I want to tell, I want to tell people this too. If you're out there, and I'm 43, I'm just beyond being techie. I'm not very techie, even though we're doing all this stuff virtually and things like that. So if you're not techie, don't worry about it. There's still a place for you in this marketplace. I don't even know my Twitter handle. So
Richard, did you mean to come say hi?
No, I didn't. I popped on there for a second. Thank you.
I saw that. You're welcome. This is Richard, our producer. Hi, Richard.
Hi, guys. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Richard.
Hey. Okay. So, John, what else would you like to tell our audience?
Well, let's see here. So what else would I like to tell the audience? I think I've told you basically, I think the future is now. And the reason is, people always want to get something for nothing. And when I say that, this isn't like a judgment on people. Here's what I'm saying. It's just kind of human nature to want to take shortcuts. And it's like, hey, I'll put that wood on the fire just as soon as I'm sure that there's going to be a fire, right? And it's like, well, it doesn't work like that. The wood goes and then you light the match and then you get a fire. And so I want everybody to understand, don't wait 10 years to get involved in this space. A lot of you are involved right now. So let's say two things. One, don't wait. If you're not involved, you need to start getting educated and get involved. The second thing is if you are involved, don't panic. Don't panic about the market going up and down. Markets go up and down. Markets crash. That's what markets do, right? There's always going to be market cycles. And so, if you're really going to be involved in this space, then get educated and understand that the future is now. Because 10 years from now, it doesn't make any difference. My dad used to say to me, John, when you make a decision, ask yourself, in 5 years, will it matter? He's like, that's the first thing to ask yourself. And if it won't matter in 5 years, don't sweat the decision. Obviously, getting married, that matters, right? Like,
yes.
It's like, oh, it's a big deal. If you're buying cryptocurrency and it goes down, so like, Bitcoin was $20,000. Now it's down to whatever it was. It moves by the nanosecond. But talk to me in 10 years, what's it going to be worth? And if it's going to be worth more than what you put into it, then don't sweat the in-between. That's what I tell people. So if you're beginning, get involved. The future is right now. And if you're in it, the future is right now, right? Because that 10 years, where it's going to be in 10 years, isn't going to matter to you. I think that's really important for people to understand. And it'll save them a lot of Xanax.
Oh, yes.
Or booze or whatever their numb of choice is.
Hemp oil CBD patches.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my current numb of choice for pain. I want to ask you about where do people go? What are the links that people are going to go to?
So totallycryptosummit.com. is where they can get the speaker information. I believe they can register there. Richard, tell me if I'm wrong. Totally Crypto on Facebook is our Facebook group. We just hit 43,000 members there today.
What?
Yay. Big
Awesome.
shout out. Less than, I think we've been active there 8 months. So big shout out to everybody that's involved in that group. Roger Bryan, Roger DeRue, James Reynolds, Craig Murray, Warren Ho, a big contributor, Ernie Valdez, I think I'm saying his name right, Bradley Burrell, a lot of guys that are in that group. I'm trying to think, a guy I'm missing, Tim Pace is in that group. And we've got a bunch of people that contribute. So if I missed you, I apologize. Your contributions are valuable there. So that's a good place. Totally Crypto on YouTube. You can find us there. And we put out some videos designed really for beginners on YouTube, but we've got some more advanced stuff. And that's where to get started. You know, the thing that I would tell people is to register for this summit. It's free, right? You can watch all these wonderful people for free and really start to soak in the information about this market and maybe think of it in a way that you wouldn't think of it before.
I think it's awesome. I like to think of crypto as math. And one of the things that I learned early on, I was a math major before I switched to sex ed, but math is math. There's a right answer, and you don't get to have wrong answers unless you're doing the new math, Common Core. Then you can have wrong answers be right. But really, in reality, math is, there's an answer. So an algorithm, it keeps going up. Well, as the supply decreases, the difficulty to solve the problem increases and the rewards are halved. So it makes sense that as it gets more expensive to mine it for half of the reward, that the price is going to go up. It's math. It's an algorithm. That's why it keeps correcting. Even when Jamie Dimon says it's a fraud and then crashes it so he can buy $150 or $250 million worth of Bitcoin, he made himself a Black Friday sale. It corrected afterwards. That's one of the things that I love is that it's less subject to manipulation because it's math.
Well, and I think, people should really understand that a lot of these guys that are saying what they say, they just don't have, Jamie is a brilliant guy at what he does, which is running banks, right? So
Bitcoin's not a bank.
What's that?
Bitcoin's not a bank. There's no central offices. There's no centralized control. There's no...
So one of the things, though, that always that I think is important for people to understand when they hear comments from these people that are iconic, whether it's Jamie, whether it's Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is a value investor. Now, does that make Warren Buffett bad? No, it makes Warren Buffett a value investor. So understand when he tells you something, it's different. A, he doesn't have really an understanding of the crypto market, but B, even if he did, he wouldn't invest there because that's not the method of investing. But that doesn't make the market bad because Warren Buffett decided he doesn't want to be in it. So I think people need to take whatever these thought leaders say with a grain of salt, whether either A, they don't understand it, or B, it's outside of their expertise. You know, if you're a bank CEO, you might not understand everything that you need to understand about blockchain and algorithms. I don't know what Jamie understands about algorithms. Not here to talk about that. But I just think that people need to take that stuff with a grain of salt. Because, if my grandpa, he didn't know anything about the internet, but, he wasn't a thought leader, right? And if he got out there and said, I think the internet's a fad, well, obviously it's not. Blockchain isn't. It's a big deal. And if you're watching this right now or you watch this soon, you're going to be on the ground floor of this, and you're going to get rich. I mean, I don't want to promise this. Obviously, is not financial disclaimers, blah 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 blah. Everybody wants to tell you this is not financial advice, but just again, Woody Allen, 80% is just showing up. Show up, you're probably going to do really well.
And the great part about this summit, totallycryptosummit.com, the great part is it's not one size fits all. There's mining ideas, there's masternode ideas, there's Bitcoin ideas, there's altcoin ideas. There's all different types of things being discussed. You can find your perfect niche. You can find what actually speaks to you, resonates with you, that you think you're more interested in, and that's how you're going to get rich. It's all about education. So thank you so much, John Tarr. You are amazing. Thank you for creating this awesome summit. And I'm really excited to be here. Along with everybody else, over the next 10 days, we are going to rock your world. Make sure you show up every day, 7 a.m., 9 a.m., noon, 4, and 7 p.m. Yes?
Yeah, thanks, everybody. We'll see you in a couple hours.